Yeah. So, now that we shared an awkward eye contact moment, to my surprise, the aftermath and epilogue of March of the Machine, we're not talking about that today, we're talking about the March of the Machine aftermath and epilogue, also not as the stepmom set, we're talking about the little stepsister set here. We're seeing some very strange pricing that I didn't predict to happen, and that is that we had this huge panic at release to sell the product because the flow-through rate on TCG Player and eBay was the lowest I had seen on a new Magic release since probably, is it Boulder? No, Baldur's Gate's so good at release. I don't know, whatever it was. So we've got an interesting dilemma situation unfolding. So for those of you who don't want to stick around, you just want to like thumbs down and run, MetaZoo. But it looks like no additional supply is coming to market because stores don't want to reorder or deal with any of it. And now we're starting to see the smaller print run from Wizards of the Coast, Papa Hasbro's, Fireside, Wikipedia, Philip Morris, Cynthia Williams chat. Ooh, that was really good. I did a good job saying that one. That was a smooth one. We're starting to see the impact of the lower print run. And we have bounced off the lows on Epilogue and Aftermath. And looking at the open market, even on like the Aftermath collectors, it is thinned out tremendously. And this time around, when the price tanked in the last 7 to 10 days, the uptick in quantity sold spiked a lot. Like at release and pre-release of Epilogue and Aftermath, we saw very little sell-through on TCG Player. Everybody was talking about how little the sell-through was. And now suddenly, after the collapse and everybody just wanted to fire sale because everybody was afraid it was going to be Baldur's Gate and you're going to lose 50 to 70% of your money. And it looks like that is not the case. It's looking like people who held on or are buying the dip on this scenario, it's looking like the market's starting to stabilize a lot quicker. And I couldn't believe, I checked Aftermath collector box this morning. And holy crap, the amount of cheap ones before the market goes back up is way lower than I thought. And then for a while, only a couple boxes a day were selling on TCG Player, which is unusually low for a Magic release. Then all of a sudden, I looked on TCG Player, and every day the quantity of sold has just gone straight. Like the amount selling now is like suspiciously high. I'm like, like what? And it looks like this whole drama panic that I made a video about, probably about a week ago now, it looks like it was very short-lived because it looks like stores were not oversaddled with this product. It's looking like, in addition, now the stores who seem to be stuck with it, looks like a lot of stores are just selling the singles and they're cracking the boxes, which I'm not sure how profitable that is in this market, in this era, but I thought it was an interesting turn of events here. And I was looking at the Nisa prices, then I was looking at like Ob Nixie on like the flashy version, and I went on TCG Player and I was like, Ob Nixilis? Wait, in the fancy version of Halo Retro Super version? Wait, TCG Player has 2 for sale? That can't be right. Like, the flow-through rate and the amount of singles that are selling and how much is left on the market is disturbingly low. It's very strange. So, we are now marching into a very bizarre situation with Aftermath and Epilogue. Now, I'm going to give you guys full transparency on the Rudy position here. I don't have any for sale. But in this downshift panic, I did buy some from some other stores, and I was able to get a few extra cases. So on Aftermath Collectors, I'm sitting on about maybe 200 boxes now. And then Epilogue, I will, embarrassed or proud, I guess only time will tell if this is good or bad, but I am currently sitting on almost 1,000 boxes of Epilogue now. Because the price, when we start seeing the price tanking, and I saw it hit about $60 plus tax and shipping on TCG Player, some stores start contacting me saying, Rudy, get these off my books. Give me like 30, 40 bucks a box. Well, not 30. That's a little Rudy-ish. Now I'm being hyperbole and dramatic. But no, it was about $38 to $42 a box, which averaged about 40 for cost basis on this. And, I was like, because people thought they were going to go to 30. I mean, I made a joke about that. We were talking about people, and I was looking at the comments online of even my own video from a week ago. And people were just saying, oh yeah, Rudy, I wouldn't touch this unless it was 20 bucks a box. There's no value there. Like, people got so negative and bearish. I was just looking at that and I was like, that's why I told you all, I would like to start buying at 40 a box if possible. So I got a little bit at that price point, but again, most of it's still a little bit higher from release. I had a couple cases left over, but I just don't think the product's being properly valued right now. The emotion is really driving this product, and I didn't expect an uptick or a stable market to happen this quick. I thought it was going to take probably 3 to 6 months. Maybe we go through Lord of the Rings or Commander Masters or something else, but the market really firmed up quick, and that is, I don't, I can't say the demand didn't pick up because based on, again, you can pause the video or just thumbs down and close it, and you go on TCG Player and look at the sell-through and look at the last few days, last 7 days versus 30 days ago. I mean, yes, the sell-through rate and the buyers stepped up big time when the price tanked. That is a fact. You can see it online. But at the same time, I think this story is more about, I don't think this product was overprinted. I think Wizards genuinely knew, being a small set, there's not a lot of variants, and a lot of the cards wouldn't be difficult to get, although some of those Mythics and Nissa are kind of suspect on short printing. It looks like the supply was properly reduced. That is my only conclusion at this point in time, because I have a hard time believing suddenly everybody wants to buy it. I'm very skeptical of that attitude. And yes, the sales have picked up, but I think this is more of a story of people who are just like, bro, if I can buy 60 plus tax, I mean, even 66 shipped, 67 shipped for a box on TCG Player. I mean, when you're getting into the 60s, your downside risk, this is what we were talking about in the other video, is so minimal. Like I said, what is the absolute worst case scenario? The box goes to what, $40, $50? And what, you're down 20% maybe? Like that, I mean, and that's considered your worst case scenario. And of course, nobody believed that. Everybody just made fun of me, Rudy's trying to pump or stabilize, whatever, emotions are the flavor of the day. But I think, a lot of the smart money looked at this and said, look, there is only a certain point where a sealed product gets to that, there's a point where the cards within the box and then the quantity on the market, I mean, there's a point where you got to step back and say, this is ridiculous. And, we saw a little bit of that with Baldur's Gate last year, but Baldur's Gate has such a high print run at release, there was no way for the market to recalibrate quickly. It's going to take a very long time, and that still seems to be the case, even though everything is way off its lows last year. So I thought that was really interesting to see that. Even the Aftermath collectors, which is even more of an interesting situation, because that one, the supply, like when you saw the price tanking, and again, I'm sorry, anybody who pre-ordered Aftermath collectors for 200 plus a box, I mean, I don't know what to say on that. We've talked about this 20 times over. I do not believe in pre-ordering or pre-purchasing 30, 60, 90 days in advance with any store or Papa Bezos. I'm just not a fan of that business approach, taking customers' money months in advance. If the product's good, you oversell and cancel. If it gets a blown out super success, Amazon has all kinds of problems. If it's a failure, the price comes down and people cancel. I don't like anything to do with taking and holding people's money for a long period of time. It's bad business. So in this situation, if distribution in Wizards does not start dumping additional supply, this is going to be one of those releases that reminds me of probably 2020, 3 years ago, of Theros Beyond Death. We had a similar situation when Theros Beyond Death, collectors and draft, there were no set at the time. When that product came out, it free fell quickly, and I even made an announcement to you that I wasn't even going to carry Theros draft boxes, and I skipped like 6 months. And then 6 months post-release on Theros in 2020, almost the end of the year, going into 2021 almost, I actually had to backpedal, and I bought, pallets of Theros draft to offer the patrons for, I think at the time, instead of 89 shipped, that was before all the price increases and, government shutdowns, COVID, Godzilla, Rudy Zex and everything. I think that was still, 80, was I selling 82 a box then? Shipped? I don't remember. But I remember having to reevaluate that product because at Theros Beyond Death, the release had no value. Like, I remember doing collector box openings, and we were doing collector box openings of Theros at the end of 2020, and like we'd open a 12-pack collector box, and we'd get like 20 mythics. Like, it was like, how can you have 15 to 20 mythics in 12 packs? It was just, the whole thing was so absurd, and there was no value. None of it, like the expected value was like $40, $50 a box. It was just a dumpster fire. Even the Theros collector boxes, I actually unloaded 60% of my position of Theros collector boxes the end of 2020, 2 patrons. And if you were a patron back then, you're still around, and you don't hate me and you're gone, can you let me know what I sold Theros collectors for? Didn't I do some ridiculous thing? Wasn't it like 149 or 159 for Theros collectors? Some outrageous thing. And I remember, excuse me, I remember the market, like into 2021 when Money Machine went burr and the market went to the moon. Like all of a sudden, Theros like completely U-turned. Like the single cards, some of these legendary cards, and some of these specific, they weren't the god cards, but something else in Theros. These certain mythics became super sought after and difficult to pull, and it reminds me of Aftermath because there were certain Theros mythics and rares that were really difficult to pull, and the prices went through the roof on these things. They all became like $30, $40, $50 a card, and the market was like, wait a minute, you can't have crashing $70, $80 Theros draft and collector boxes at $150 when you've got a bunch of $30, $40, $50 cards, because now the market's distorted, you had arbitrage, and all kinds of opportunity. People started making tons of money. I had a patron, I remember sending me a picture one time, and he cleaned out the market, bought like 240, or was it 260? 200 something collector box of Theros, opened all of them, and sold singles, and made like a 40-45% return in like 90 days. It was unreal. Made ridiculous thousands in profit. But you have those situations. In the Aftermath epilogue, this is the first time I've seen a market dynamic where as we approach release, we had a complete collapse bear market. Release happened, stores panicked of Baldur's Gate 2.0, and the selling pressure went right into it. And then literally 10 days after release, or 2 weeks after release, all of a sudden, no additional supply comes to market. We bounce off the lows. Some of the singles are not dropping at all. They've actually either stayed the same or gone up some. In some supply of the singles are selling like crazy on TCG Player, and the prices are holding $30, $40, $50 a card. And there's barely any for sale online. And these are all recipes that, when I see variables and gears turning like this tells me this product is not going to go to $20 for epilogue. These Aftermath collectors are not going to go. Like, I'm having patrons and messages of asking to buy more Aftermath and epilogue now. And, I'm trying to rebuild my positions now because, my attitude on this is starting to be like, this is getting interesting quick. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, this is a really weird situation, folks. And I think myself and everybody else, I think including me, I became a Timmy and I was watching the panic, but I failed to realize the lack of supply is the biggest shift compared to Baldur's Gate. Because I'm looking at these and this is like when people were saying epilogue to $20, like I was like, come on. Like I was skeptical, and that's why I was like, dude, I'll pay $40. Anyone out there, I will buy any quantity you have of epilogue at $40 a box, and I'll give you a shipping label and cover your shipping to move the cases to my store. And I didn't get many contacts on that. I mean, a couple stores did because they genuinely thought it was going to 20. And I told them, look, I will give you my opinion. If you want to sell to me at 40, I will buy it, but I think you're being stupid, and I don't think you should do it because the market will turn. But people in these moments, and they're so afraid of the losses and the dynamic, and they need cash for Lord of the Rings coming up, it becomes a very emotional squeeze on the market. I don't want to say like a short squeeze, but it becomes a financial squeeze, and the emotions and anxiety will eat away at you at night and in the morning. And you're in a bad trade or you're nervous because at night or in the morning, you're laying in bed, you're checking prices, you're reading social media, you're checking your Tinder account and your Backpage account, in your Grinder account, and you're going, oh God, everybody's talking about epilogue to 69 cents. And, people were really worried. That's why I made that video talking about how worried everybody was. But that's my attitude right now. I really don't think we're in for a situation. I think, and again, this is a hot take, and I'll make a follow-up video if I'm wrong in the next 30, 60 days. But right now, it does not appear that epilogue is going to tank much past $60 a box. It looks like the floor price is around this 60 plus tax on the open market. So, which isn't really, for a dramatic release, dropping 20% from release from like the 80s to the 60s isn't really that big of a swing and unusual for a release of a weak product. That's really not that it's not that extreme at all. So that's where we're at. Do I think the prices are going to skyrocket and epilogue is going to go above 100 and all this stuff? No, I don't think you can buy into this and flip the product either. I don't want people to, take things out of context here, which I'm sure they will because it's the internet. But I think the prices are going to be more stable than we expected. I think epilogue is going to bounce around. And again, we may see Wizards release more product. And if we get another Wizards release or wave or reprint or dump from Wizards, or if an Amazon dump returns, or distribution is quietly sitting on 10, 20,000, some outrageous number, which I don't think is happening, but if for some reason something happens where we get a massive injection of supply, then there's no way the market will support that. We will see a crash, and we will see further lower prices. But as of right now, it doesn't feel like that's going to be the case. It doesn't seem like distribution is asking for restocks or reprints. And I would like to believe that, Cynthia Philip Morris Williams and Wikipedia would understand a small set cannot be overprinted because there's not a lot of rarity. So I'd like to believe these individuals at the top of this ivory tower do still have intelligence to run a business and they know what they're doing. I would like to believe that. So that's all we have today, folks. Just doing some inventory and cleaning over here. I'm tired and a little sweaty here, but I want to take a break and talk to you guys about this because this was a pretty big conversation right now. And pretty soon we got to talk about Lord of the Rings, because before I end this video, go on TCG Player and look at Lord of the Rings collector boxes. Look how much is selling. And the set doesn't come out for 30 days. We are a month from release, and Lord of the Rings collector's boxes are unbelievably high demand and selling like crazy. FOMO 10,000. Like, we're a month from release, and I have never seen in my cardboard basement career of taco slinging ex-girlfriends, I have never seen this much sell-through of a product a month, 4 to 5 weeks before release, depending when you watch this video. That is incredibly bullish. I just want to lay that. And again, we're talking a market price right now of $355 a box for plus tax. So $375 shipped for Lord of the Rings collectors on TCG Player. Like, I'm looking at this, and to me, I'm like, dude, that's a big number. But I understand, I guarantee, I don't have any allocations. I don't have any information, but some stores have claimed that they're starting to get allocations of Lord of the Rings, and they're getting about 60% of what they requested. I've had 3 stores contact me that, but I have not received any allocations or information. I don't know how much validity that has, but I hope the allocations are not low. I hope the supply is high, because it's going to be an absolute nightmare disaster if the supply is low and this many stores are taking unbelievable amounts of pre-orders. It's going to be a nuclear, just messy thing. Anyway, I just want to comment on that before I end this video. I'm just so blown away. I just never seen a product 5 weeks out from release and this much volume is happening. It's crazy. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, see that sorcery back there, right? Just doing a little testing, checking out the cards, checking out the mechanics, checking with some local people, and just looking into the game, getting ready for that August-September huge release. Yeah, we're looking at it.